Well, our next guest, now he said this, he went from a mess to a message. And we're thrilled to be talking to a young man that is making a difference and has a brand new show. Welcome back to Get Connected. I'm your host, Conn Jackson. The show is called Teen Trouble. We'll be able to see it on Lifetime Network. And it's great to have Josh with us. What's it like being a TV star now?
Well, you know, I wouldn't say that I'm the star of this show. I would say it's the teens and parents that are really facing their issues and are brave enough to put it on television in hopes that it might help one other family. So I'm just there to do my thing to try to help these kids.
Well, Josh, take us back in your life when I mentioned just before that you were in a mess. What was happening in your life that makes you, I guess, be able to see where these teens are coming from?
Yeah, I absolutely understand where these teens are coming from. I grew up in the foster care system myself. I bounced around in a bunch of different homes. I was abused emotionally, physically, sexually as a child. I became very depressed and suicidal. I was a teenage drunk. I tried to do many things to run away from my problems. I was very rebellious. I was very obnoxious. I was basically every parent's worst nightmare. But the good news is that I had a handful of adults who stepped into my life and who refused to give up on me. And now I do that for other kids. You know, I believe that every kid is genuinely only one caring adult away from being a success story.
Josh, we love the idea of success stories, and thank you for sharing that background with us. Who's usually to fault? Is it the parent from the pressure and the discipline, or is the kid just making bad choices?
Well, truthfully, it's a bit of both. I mean, look, you know, when a kid becomes a teenager, their job title is now to push the boundaries. That is their job, and I guarantee you that's what they're going to do. So if you're a parent and you have a teenager and they're pushing the boundaries, doesn't mean you have a horrible kid. It means that you have a teenager. But the parent's job is to hold the boundaries. And so, you know, you could be the world's greatest mom or dad, and your kid, your teenager in particular, could still make some choices that are not wise, that you do not approve of. And the challenge for us as caring adults is that, you know, sometimes we want to be able to control the teen and control their choices because we love them and we care about them and we don't want to see them do something stupid. But the truth is, and every parent of a teen knows this, you can't control your teen as much as you'd like to. So really the only option you have is to influence them. So you're moving from the role of a protector to the role of a coach. And if you think about what a coach does, a coach prepares the athlete before they go on the field. A coach breaks down after the game what went well, what went poorly, what would you do differently next time. But the one thing the coach never does is step on the field, step on the court. They cannot control their athletes' choices. As parents, we cannot control our teenagers' choices. We can only help influence them.
Well, you are a behavioral specialist. I'm just curious, in my own thought, I have always thought the teenager is most influenced by the friends that they keep. How does a parent say, you know what, I think these friends are a bad influence, and get them with kids that, you know, we think would be good influences? Yeah,
you're absolutely right. I mean, look, when a kid becomes a teenager, and again, you could be the world's greatest mom or dad, but when a kid becomes a teenager, they fire the parent as the #1 influence in their life. And then they typically give that role to their friends. Now, these might be good friends or they might be bad friends, but the problem is you have young, inexperienced people taking cues from other people that are young and inexperienced. And so this is why my advice to all parents is to enlist the help of a mentor. There are organizations out there like Big Brothers Big Sisters where you can get a mentor involved in your teenager's life. Now, the research shows that a teen with a mentor is 47% less likely to engage in trouble, to engage in destructive behavior, drugs, and alcohol. And so these sorts of things matter because if you can remember yourself being a teenager, you don't necessarily want to listen to mom or dad and what they say because it's coming from mom or dad. But what a mentor does is that they sort of deliver the same message that mom or dad would, but because it's a different messenger, the kid is more likely to listen.
Wow, it makes me want to sign up and be a mentor. I didn't realize quite the influence that they have. Josh, what makes the partnership with Lifetime so perfect for getting your message out?
Yeah, great question. I actually had several other production companies and networks approach me about doing a show like this, and I always said thank you, but no thank you. So number one, it was the producers. The executive producers of Teen Trouble are the executive producers of Oprah and Intervention in the past. And then when Lifetime came on board, it really made sense of, this is not a reality show. No one is scripted, no one is paid, no one's told what to do or what to say. This is truly a documentary series where we're documenting these kids and these families in the midst of their crisis and their attempt to turn it around. And so to me, this really made a lot of sense in the fact that we can document these brave families' journeys in the hopes that something they learn, something they see, something we uncover, they learn some new thing about the secret life that most teenagers live that their parents have no idea about, in the hopes that this might save one other teen or one other family the heartache that these families had to go through.
My understanding, it will be every Friday, 10 p.m. And let me ask you, how does it work? Does each episode take you from beginning to end, or do we follow the family for a couple episodes? How have they packaged it?
Yeah, so each family or each episode focuses on a different teenager. And in the beginning, we're going to deep dive and see exactly what they're up to now. It's very shocking, it's very startling, but it's something that every parent in America needs to face and see. As parents, we got to expect the best, but we also have to be prepared for the worst. And then I enter the scene, I come in to help the teen, and you will see the struggle that happens. I've been doing this for 12 years. I'm a specialist at working with teens. But you'll see that just because you care and just because you want them to change doesn't mean that they want to change. And so you'll see the struggle and the techniques that I use at each stage of the game. And then ultimately, my whole goal that week is to get the kid to realize that they need to change and then offer them a comprehensive, year-long follow-up care process. Look, you can decide you want to change your life in 3 seconds, but to really change your life takes months, takes years. And so we're very responsible in the fact of giving this kid and the family the follow-up care, the mental health counseling, everything they need in order to really succeed. And then the very end of the show, checks in with them 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year later to see how they're doing now.
Josh, thanks for caring for our teenagers and our families and doing what you can. Last bit of advice for anyone facing a challenge out there, given what you've been able to overcome, what would you say to them?
I would say if you have a kid in your life that is frustrating, that is challenging, that is pushing you away, just remember my story. Just remember that I had a handful of adults, my foster parents, the Wiedemeyers, who refused to give up on me, and that made an enormous difference in my life. And so remember that no kid is beyond hope.
That's awesome. Thanks for giving us hope, and congratulations on your new show on Lifetime.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.